Hi all, this is DangerMan. I'm going to take you on a little tour of Philadelphia. I've done this before in 360, but this 360 video is from the apex, the top of my head, as opposed to a side view. You can see off to the right is the legendary art museum where people love to do the Rocky Run. On this particular Sunday, like many Sundays, Philadelphia will have some sort of event, a walk, a run, whatever, and they'll shut down part of the parkway for an hour or so while these events get started or end. The Landskaters meet every Sunday at 10 o'clock and they leave promptly 20 minutes after 10. They call it Landskater time, which means essentially, although you're meant to meet up and leave at 10, they usually leave about 20 minutes after 10. Most people who come to skate with the Landskaters will park over on Pennsylvania Avenue. That's on the other side of this parkway if you're not familiar with Philadelphia. So right now we're skating down the Ben Franklin Parkway. This is the beginning of what should be a 10-mile skate. I'm going to break this video into probably 6-minute sections, and you can watch what you want. This part of the skate will take us down towards, well, we're going to head eventually to Pennsport, across the city. The halfway point is usually the end of South Street, but it's always a different route. So we get to the same places, but we take different routes. There's my son Dalton, who in this video, he's 14 years old. He's got the rainbow helmet on from Nutcase. I used to work for Nutcase, if you're not aware. It's a good helmet company, but the helmets are somewhat basic. Their selling point is the designs. Dalton here is complaining that the frame is actually coming loose from his skate. I thought maybe it was just a loose skate because he's wearing a pair of my older skates. And we're both running in different setups on this particular day, and I'm having a problem with my skate as well. In fact, this entire skate was nothing but hell for me because the bolts on my skates were loose, and I could not tighten them up. There was just nothing I could do. I ended up stripping the heads, and I actually get separated from the group when we get to the halfway point at a Home Depot. I go inside, and I think I have that on video. It's kind of funny. You'll see these two college girls help me out with trying to repair my skate in the aisle of a Home Depot. But in any event, there's a lot of construction here on the Ben Franklin Parkway. This is a spring day. This is April the 2nd, I believe, when this was shot. And temperatures probably in the high 50s, feels even colder because of the wind. You'll notice this downtown area is I wouldn't say plagued, but it really is overrun by tourists. And it's just one of those things where I guess you just kind of get used to them. You ignore them. But Philadelphia is, for the skater, the city of brotherly love. Compared to when we skate through cities like DC and New York, the vehicles on the streets are quite patient with us. I'm kind of surprised. Always am. There are those who are not entirely patient, but on a whole, traffic seems to just cope with bikers and skaters much better than any other city. Now, on a whole, we observe the laws. We'll stop for lights, etc. But skaters do take advantage of the fact that when there's no traffic, they'll shoot through the intersection. But holistically, we observe the laws. Having said that, you'll probably watch me break a number of them. Traffic laws, that is. I'm not going to rob any banks or anything. So to the left there, that's Lynn. I'm not going to give any last names for privacy's sake. But most of these skaters have skated with the group for years. This skate group has been around since the 1990s. The skaters that you see in this group, some of them are actually members that have been around since the very beginning. And most weekends, the heritage or legacy skaters that started the club will be in these groups. Now right here, we're kind of heading across town. We're not heading directly to Pennsport. We're kind of cutting across town, and then we're kind of going to zigzag like on an angle across to Pennsport. If you're not familiar with Pennsport, it's where most of the titty bars are. Don't ask how I know that. Back in the 90s, to be blunt, I actually dated a stripper. No, I didn't meet her at a club. We met outside a club. She wanted to date a businessman, so to speak, that would never darken the doors of a strip club. That was my intro to her. Learned more about the business, though, than I cared to know. So here we are in a little park. We seem to know where all of them are for stopping. Now here I'm working on my skate frame, and my son is also doing the same across the way. And we, for lack of better terms, become a burden to the skate group. And this is like the very beginning for me, where I start to realize I'm not skating on stable frames, and it's becoming less and less fun for me. And over time, I get to a point where I just leave the group. I mean, I just can't take it anymore. Now, why is this happening? Well, when you get new frames and new boots and you try to put them together, you have a tendency to move the frame around a few times while you're tightening up that hex head, and you strip it out, and it's not as tight as it could be. If you were to put it in the first time right, find the location where you want your frame so you're not pronating, it'd be great. But if you don't nail it the first time, you start to strip the head and not tighten the screws down enough, and your frames come loose as you're skating. It sucks. So again, if you haven't gotten the idea, these skates are really dead casual. And when you come along for one of these skates, we encourage you to understand that it is a casual experience. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next video here in a minute. It's going to pick up where this one left off. These videos are broken up in cutscenes, but they are all in one stream, so to speak. So the breaks are legit. All right, talk to you soon.